everyone, and welcome. I do not have an intro, but I have a brand new series for you. If you want to see what the series is all about, if you want to go a little bit into planning mode with me, or if you just want to know what our little challenge is going to be for this one, you can stay tuned in this video. If you're more of a speed build kind of person, I also got you. The first speed build of this series will come out in like half an hour. So if you just want to see that, just wait half an hour. Or I guess watch this video to pass the time. In this one, we're just going to go into planning. So I will give it to Past Me, who is actually creating the challenge, which is a very important part of this. So see you in the past. The only thing that we're going to be using in this video is this sand brush. Well, not this, it's very big, but a sand brush. So we have this beautiful map and I think it's a temperate map in Europe I picked. And this is the only thing that I kind of given myself to kind of have an idea of size, because it's easy to get lost on these big maps. So the only thing that we're going to be using in this video is the sand paint, and that is because our little challenge will be to build a zoo within a really weird sort of crazy shape, and it has to be within the confines of the sand. So it can be kind of like on this edge of the sand, or on this edge, it doesn't really matter, but it has to, the edges of the zoo have to line up with the sand. Okay, you got it. We're drawing a weird shape, and then we're filling it up with a zoo. My kind of backstory here on why we have this weird shape is that this is smack down in the middle of a city, and in a city you have everything but space. So the idea is kind of that we have to utilize every little nook and cranny that the city is able to give us, which is why this has such a weird little shape. We're going to go more into this later, but there's like one little bit that I kind of explained very well while I was actually doing it, so we're going a little bit back to the past before I continue talking. And then one thing I also want to do is kind of have a big gap in it that we can fill. And the idea is kind of because there's a zoo in Germany that actually has an Autobahn going through it. And I think that's a really funny concept to have the zoo kind of separated into two. This is pretty. Kind of have it separated into like two areas that can only be, that are only connected by a small bit. And I don't know what this, what will be between this, but that's kind of what I want to do. So you might be thinking this isn't really that hard, and yes, there's probably harder challenges to do in this game, but in this next clip that I kind of left in like originally me talking, you will see me place a staff building just to give myself an idea, and it is actually pretty tiny. Like I was kind of shocked. And additionally, I kind of, for the first time ever, want to kind of have a little bit of an eye out for the space requirement of the animals. I'm not gonna, be super clean about it, but I'm a sandbox player, so let me make baby steps. So I want it to be realistic, but if I can, I kind of want to have the requirements in mind. But yeah, actually watch me place a staff building. And oh my god, if I look at this, so this is a 4-meter wall. This will be tiny, I think. I don't know. Let's look at some blueprints and see just how wrong I am about the size here. Let's get the big employee room. See, this is tiny. I don't know if I'm really setting myself up for a challenge here. Okay, so now that we talked about all of that, let's make a little bit of a handy little list of what the goals for this actually are. So, first of all, obviously, fill in this little shapey shape. We're gonna do that and obviously fill it up with as many animals and things as we can. And when I say as many as we can, that is wrong, because we're not going to just take the animals that need the least space and cram them somewhere. So it's supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to feel like a zoo still, but just like twist our brains on how we get a lot of animals in. That's what I mean with as many animals as we can. Not literally. We're not counting numbers. Well, we may count numbers, but that's not the point of it. So bit of an extra challenge to that is that I want to have at least 4 animals that are bigger than a human. And obviously that makes it harder because the animals that are bigger usually need bigger enclosures. So we will see if we get an animal. Well, we will get an animal in here. I can give you that spoiler. I was gonna say elephant, but and this is kind of the third thing is kind of the most important thing to me personally. I want to improve my realistic building. So one of the things is that I want this to feel realistic, which also kind of puts, a bit of a stress relief on the second little challenge that we have there, because I only want to build as big as it feels realistic to build. So if I feel like the animal requires a lot more space than I feel like a zoo would realistically give them, then I'm not gonna pay attention to that. But yeah, no, I don't think that my realism game is as good as it could be. So that is something that I want to pay more attention to. Yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting something here, but maybe I don't. Let me have a little bit of a quick think here. So, no, I can't really think of anything else. So these are little challenges that we're going to have to fulfill within this park, and I'm really excited for it. We are also going to build a little bit of a city around it, but that's something that we're going to do in the end, just in case it's not really working out with the piece count. So, if we do still have a running game by the end of it, we are going to be building a city around it, and then probably also while we're building, we're going to do a little bit of stuff. By the way, anything that belongs to the zoo is in the confines, but if we want to do something like a bus stop, it can be outside. I just made up that rule. So, let's actually talk about the style of this now. So, I'm obviously not just gonna say we're gonna do this and do this anyway. I love looking up the style of things. So, let's have a little bit of a scroll through Pinterest, shall we? So, I saved a bunch of pictures for this, and they all kind of have this one thing in common, which is kind of like green city. So we're going to have an absurd amount of green walls, which are walls that have living plants in them, which is supposed to improve the air quality, and a lot of cities are trying to incorporate it more into their city design kind of thing. In other words, it's a modern concept and usually combined with very modern, sleek, minimalistic style, which I so want to do, but to kind of have it appear more friendly, we're going to have light woods in it, and make it very, a lot of open glass walls and stuff. So that lights comes in, we have this very friendly appearing wood tone, and then we also might incorporate some colors. Obviously the green will be very present, but I'm thinking maybe a little bit of yellow, which yellow is very modern at the moment. So, we're gonna see where that will go, but yeah. So what I want to do here also is kind of have solar panels be visible and kind of make it this thing that within a city, you have this thing that really screams, we care about the environment, to be a good example for people that come to the zoo to not just look at the animals, but also say, this is where the future of cities could go, and do all that. So this is something that I kind of wanted to do ever since the conservation pack came out, because I think the pieces are perfect for it. So the pieces from the conservation pack have also been a fairly big inspiration for this, and I also have a little bit of a small clip here of me kind of trying to make a piece palette, which I always do for every new zoo that I start or every new area of a zoo. I kind of collect some pieces that represented what I want to do with it, and it's also really handy while you're actually building to come back to it and be reminded of things that you wanted to use for this park. So I always do it, but there's not a lot that I selected for this one. Usually I have more, but, I still had it, so, yeah. So while we're watching the last few seconds of our little palette here, I also want to say thank you so much for your interest so far. We're going to have a little bit of a quick little sneak peek at some of the things that we have in our first episode, which I hope you come back for in half an hour. And if not, then okay. But if yes, then see you there. So far, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're excited, and I hope to see you around another time. Bye!